Welcome to Inside Gaming. I'm Jack, and it's been a while, but Star Citizen is back in the news. Huzzah! The alpha version of the game was recently updated to version 3.18, and it even got a snazzy new trailer to show off all the updates. The big one was the addition of persistent entity streaming, obviously, which is just a fancy way of saying Star Citizen's game world now has a base level of persistence for in-game objects since they are now being tracked under the hood. In short, objects that are moved or dropped will stay where players left them even after they die. That may not seem like much considering the game has been in development for over 10 years, but the developers have said it's a major step towards a quote, fully realized persistent universe that evolves with the players that inhabit it. I don't know what that means. The other improvements include the addition of salvage, a complete overhaul of the cargo system, exciting new prison missions, and mysterious locations to explore and or exploit for resources. Likely exploit. Unfortunately for Star Citizen fans, the 3.18 update drummed up so much interest that an influx of returning players caused a series of server issues, long-lasting outages, and other bugs, because of course it did. Players that did manage to get into the game were faced with a completely broken build where nothing was interactable. As spotted by PC Gamer, angry fans took to the Robert Space Industries forums to vent their frustration. One user named Admiral Grogan wrote, quote, "This is embarrassingly bad, even by Star Citizen standards. I've been a backer since day one. I'm not going anywhere, but after all this time, we don't have our together to release a mess like this? Yeah, it's an alpha, blah, blah, blah. The issue I have is, after this many years, why are these same problems happening in every single patch?" On March 12th, the official Star Citizen Twitter account addressed the issues, linking to a server status page and writing, quote, "We're sorry for the super rough start. Our team is all hands on deck working to get things running smoothly as quickly as possible. We'll keep you updated." At the time of this recording, the server status page still shows partial outages, and Robert Space Industries warned that players should still expect, quote, "periods of extreme difficulty getting into the game's persistent universe." Extreme difficulties, that's not something you want to hear from a developer. When do you think Star Citizen is going to finally hit that 1.0 release? I don't know, it's been over a decade now. Ugh, alright. Before the announcement of Microsoft's plans to acquire Activision Blizzard, there was another reason the World of Warcraft maker was continually in the news. That's right, we're talking about Blizzard's sexual harassment scandals and toxic work culture issues that were widely exposed in 2021 due to a lawsuit filed by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing. Woo, pew, 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 pew. As a quick refresher, the lawsuit claimed that Activision Blizzard, quote, "fosters a frat boy culture in which female employees are subjected to constant sexual harassment, unequal pay, and retaliation." From there, numerous whistleblowers came forward, further exposing things like the infamous Cosby Suite, breastfeeding room scandals, the suicide of an employee during a Blizzard event who was reportedly being harassed, and even more allegations of misconduct levied at Activision Blizzard leadership, including company CEO Bobby Kotick. Within 2 weeks of the initial lawsuit, Blizzard's president at the time, J. Allen Brack, resigned. Mike Ibarra and Jen O'Neill were appointed as co-leads. However, O'Neill promptly quit, stating she wasn't offered the same compensation as her counterpart, and also that she herself had been tokenized, marginalized, and discriminated against while working at Blizzard. Ouch. Well now, nearly 2 years later, Jen O'Neill and former Blizzard president J. Allen Brack are teaming up to build a new studio called Magic Soup Games. They are joined by a third co-founder, John Donham, who is also a former Blizzard exec. In an interview with VentureBeat, Brack referenced his departure from Blizzard, saying, quote, "The separation was incredibly difficult, but I believe the organization would heal faster under someone new." He also added, quote, "I still believe Blizzard can re-emerge as a haven for creatives with a positive culture for all employees." Currently, Magic Soup has 2 open positions, so if you're looking for a job, check it out. Well, we mentioned the Activision Blizzard acquisition, so we might as well check on how things are going with old Microsoft. This week, the company actually signed 2 more 10-year Call of Duty contracts. If you remember, Xbox has already agreed to Call of Duty content commitments with Nintendo and Nvidia. Now, Microsoft has signed with Ukraine-based cloud gaming platform Boosteroid and Japanese cloud gaming provider Ubitus. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Major regulators in charge of approving the Activision deal, like the CMA and the European Commission, have expressed concerns that Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard could give them an unfair market advantage when it comes to cloud gaming. If you want more information on that, just watch all of the previous roundups where we talked about it. These new contracts are obviously additional efforts to reduce those concerns. In both cases, the partnerships will bring Xbox PC games as well as Activision Blizzard titles like Call of Duty to Boosteroid and Ubitus. Vitus. Sure. The later is a proponent of NFTs, but to what extent is a little unclear. Ubitus also helps companies develop metaverse experiences through the use of cloud gaming technology. The CMA and the European Commission are set to make decisions about Activision's acquisition in March and April, and the FTC has asked for more information about the 10-year deals Xbox has already signed with Nintendo and Nvidia. They've also asked for documents related to Redacted, the codename for Microsoft's next-generation gaming ecosystem. Ooh, Redacted. Fancy stuff. Valve says making an OLED Steam Deck would be more work than people assume. The Steam Deck, of course, is Valve's handheld gaming PC that just recently celebrated its first birthday, and a majority of fans and critics have been thrilled with the device. That success has already led many to speculate about the next steps and upgrades that could be made with a new iteration of the hardware. One upgrade that seems like a favorite among speculators is the integration of an OLED screen. However, Steam Deck designer Pierre-Louis Graffet says not so fast. Specifically, in an interview with PC Gamer, Graffet said, "I think people are looking at things like an incremental version and assume that it's an easy drop-in. But in reality, the screen's at the core of the device. Everything is anchored to it." He added, quote, "I think it would be a bigger amount of work than people are assuming it would be. I don't think we're discounting anything, but the idea that you could just swap in a new screen and be done, it would need more than that to be doable." In the interview, Graffet also talks about battery life and Valve's efforts to improve things there. With Switch 2 reportedly on the way in 2024 and other hardware manufacturers getting into the handheld game, it's likely an update to Steam Deck. Would it just be surface level or incremental? We'll just have to wait and see. Maybe we'll get Super Steam Deck. That'd be fancy. The Last of Us series on HBO has finally come to an end. No spoilers here, I hope. I'm reading a script, so there may be spoilers. I hope not. The season finale happened on Sunday, which reignited decades-old debate over Part 1's final moments, but the finale also left a lot of people wondering what's next for Last of Us and Naughty Dog. The show has already been greenlit for a second season, and it's also been confirmed that the events of the second game in the series will take place over multiple seasons. You gotta stretch it out. As for the games and the potential for The Last of Us Part 3 being in the works, don't hold your breath. Creative director Neil Druckman has confirmed ideation, and a rough script does exist for a Part 3, but he also spoke with Kinda Funny this week saying, quote, "So at the end of every project, we purposely explore several different projects. Some of them might be a sequel, then a bunch of new ideas, and then we really feel like, where do our passions lie? Because that's the fire that has to sustain for years to come." Druckman added, quote, "I know the fans really want Last of Us Part 3. I hear about it all of the time, and all I can say is that, look, we're already into our next project, so the decision has already been made. I can't say what it is, but that's the process we went through, that there was a lot of consideration of different things, and we picked the thing we were most excited for." The Last of Us Part 2 is a decently long and grueling game due to its tone and setting, and it took 6 years to make. So it's hard to imagine the developers would want to dive back into that world right away just after launch. In the meantime, Druckman has said the Last of Us multiplayer game is Naughty Dog's next big title, and we'll hear much more about that later this year. All right, let's take a look at some of y'all's comments from last week's episode. In last week's headlining story, Sony implied that if the Activision deal goes through, Xbox would sabotage the PlayStation versions of Call of Duty, and you were not having it in the comments. Good on you. Reverse Shadows wrote, "Sony just sounds like someone being broken up with and is scrambling to find any reason to stay together, but they're all bad. I wish the merger could go through just so we'll stop hearing of all their bad arguments." Jacob Perlman said, "I think the merger should be blocked for the sake of the industry and the harm it could cause the consumer. But holy hell, these Call of Duty arguments are painfully stupid." Then there was Adam Nichols, who wrote, "Damn, Sony really be stretching hard with that claim. That's a Mr. Fantastic level stretch. Kevin Feige might be eyeing Sony to be in the new Fantastic Four movie, Lamau. Also, sorry, Jack, you're wrong again. Blizzaga has been used as early as Final Fantasy VI, originally released as Final Fantasy III in America." I get it. Okay, yeah, that one's on Evan. He confirmed it. So there you go. Yeah, got it. Fine. Thanks. I appreciate it. But also, yeah, a lot of people pointed out that Blizzaga is a spell in Kingdom Hearts, and, well... Let's talk about some games that are coming out this week. How about that? Let's ignore my lack of knowledge. First up, Deceive Incorporated, or Deceive Inc., INC with a period. Go undercover as the world's greatest spies in this tense multiplayer game of subterfuge. Disguise as anyone, deploy an arsenal of high-tech gadgets, or neutralize the competition. As long as you extract with the objective, no trick is too dirty when you work for Deceive Incorporated. Deceive Incorporated hits the PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X on March 21st. The world has been thrown into chaos by an ancient evil from another dimension. As one of the last remnants of humanity, you must set out alone or alongside up to 2 other survivors to face down hordes of deadly enemies to try and carve a foothold, rebuild, and retake what was lost. Remnant from the Ashes comes to the Switch on March 21st. A tropical open-world adventure. Climb, glide, swim, and sail your boat around a beautiful archipelago in this physics-driven sandbox. Take control of any animal or object you can find and jam on your fully playable ukulele. Why did you bury the lead? Tchia comes to PC, PS5, and PS4 on March 21st. I nailed that pronunciation. Saints and Sinners is a game unlike any other in the Walking Dead universe. Every challenge you face and decision you make is driven by you. Fight the undead, scavenge through the flooded ruins of New Orleans, and face gut-wrenching choices for you and the other survivors live The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution, I messed that one up, comes to PSVR 2 on March 21st. Have a Nice Death is a 2D action roguelike. Play as an overworked death whose employees have run rampant, completely throwing off the balance of souls and his vacation plans. In order to restore order, you have to grab your trusty scythe and show your employees who's boss. Have a Nice Death comes to the Switch on March 22nd. Atelier Ryza 3? Sure. Atelier Ryza 3 Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key. The final summer, the final secret, Ryza's final adventure is about to begin. Probably not if it does well. Ryza and her friends set off on a great journey that revolves around a key and the roots of alchemy. Atelier Ryza 3 Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key comes to PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Switch on March 23rd. With Storyteller, you are the one writing the story. Start with a title, characters, and settings, and create your own twist on stories familiar and new. Storyteller comes to the Switch and PC on March 23rd. Isn't that just a piece of paper? I mean, if you're in control of the story, I don't get that one. I'll have to check that one out. The Crown of Wu! Run, jump, fight, explore, master the elements of fire, air, earth, and lightning, cross through chasms, and solve puzzles in this action-adventure-packed game with a high level of difficulty as well as a narrative full of mythology. The Crown of Wu comes to the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, and Xbox One on March 24th. Wu-Tang, Killer Bees. EA Sports PGA Tour. Let me do that again. EA Sports TM PGA Tour TM features Pure Strike for superior golf gameplay powered by ShotLink, registered logo, and unrivaled access to the world's most exclusive golf courses. Period. EA Sports PGA Tour comes to the PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X on March 24th. They love their trademarks there. And finally, it's a big one. Resident Evil 4 Remake survival is just the beginning. 6 years have passed since the biological disaster in Raccoon City. Leon S. Kennedy, one of the survivors, tracks the president's kidnapped daughter to a secluded European village where there is something terribly wrong with the locals. Resident Evil 4 Remake hits the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4 on March 24th, 2023. And that's it for this week's news. Thank you all so much for watching and have yourselves a fantastic weekend. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.